Hi, my name's Charlie King. I'm with Heroic Fatherhood, and this is your Mentor's Moment. In today's question, a dad asks, what can we do about the epidemic of male loneliness and isolation in American men? Wow, this is a big question, and it's an important one as well. This is something that is not just consistently an issue for dads. This is one who is consistent for men. This is consistent for older men especially, but younger men as well, especially with the onset of technology. There is this growing sense of isolation amongst men. It is true of society in general, but it is an epidemic amongst men. Suicide and depression rates are on the rise. Senses of isolation absolutely on the rise. This is absolutely true of men as they get older. See, we build relationships early in our lives where we go over to the kid's house next door and we bang on the door and they're like, Billy, do you want to come out and play? Yeah, let's get our tricycles and go ride tricycles. So we go ride tricycles. That's fun. We fall down. We're like, ow, that hurt. Okay, what do you want to do? Let's go through a water balloon. So we go through a water balloon. Now what do you want to do? I don't know. You want to go get a snack and see if mom will have you over for dinner? Okay, let's go get a snack. So you go in and you have a snack and you have relationships. All of a sudden you're best friends with Billy. Have you ever taken your kids to some place where they don't know anybody and they go to the playground and within about 2 minutes, they know every kid on the playground and they're playing a game and you're like, who are you playing with? And they're like, I don't know their names. We're just having a great time. Right? Like that's who kids are. And as young adults, we're like mosh pitted together in schools and we end up making our relationships in there. And look, I like that kid. I don't like that kid. I like that kid. These kids are okay. And then we date and then we go to college and there's fraternal organizations or there's sports or there's, academic or there are activities that we do and we build our relationships there and then we're out in the world and we're working. And where all our relationships become, it's all about work. It's all about work. And we keep working and we build our relationships in there. But here's the reality. My question for you is, if you weren't hanging out with those people who you work with, would you be hanging out with them at all? If you were not being paid, if you were not deriving your income from spending time with them, would you spend time with them at all? The majority of the men that answer this question answer no. And the reality is that they count often on their relationships at work as the relationships they have in their lives. A study showed that men, American men, have less than 5 close friends in their lives. Many far less than that. We have a tendency to overwork and overbusy our lives to such an extent that we no longer reach or have the relationships that we once had with the men in our lives. And the further we get out from those intimate relationships, the less likely we are to try and rekindle them. This leads to isolation, and it doesn't get better when you get married. See, here's the thing. When you get married, men have this tendency to lean on their spouses for their social lives. Oh, well, my wife volunteers a lot. She's really connected in the community, and we do dinners with friends, But they always end up being stimulated or being generated by your spouse. And this most certainly happens. Like, have you ever heard of the likelihood of men passing away in short order after their wives? Absolutely. Is it from loneliness? Absolutely. But it's also from isolation, where the spouses might have been really, really well connected. The husbands aren't. And they spend time by themselves and they literally pass away from isolation. And let's not talk about this. Suicide is on the rise. Suicide amongst white middle-aged men is on the rise. And men don't mess around. They don't attempt suicide. They actually commit it. We have seen too many amazing men, people whose names we know, people whose names we will never know, who've taken their own lives in a completely preventable situation. Isolation and loneliness and depression, it's all treatable. Now, what kind of thing any one man needs is different than another. Some men just need more friends in their lives. Some men just need to go out more. Some men need to take a weekend away. Some men need to get reconnected with family. Some men need to find a sense of purpose in their lives. And some men need medication. All of which is okay. It doesn't really matter which works best for you. If this is a situation that sounds familiar to you, just that you're getting the help you need. It is so common for me to work with entrepreneurs who are feeling, I just feel alone, I feel sad a lot, and I'm wondering if I'm struggling with depression. Well, you might be. That's absolutely true. But let's look at what you set up in your life. Tell me about your life. Well, I work all day alone. I'm really just working with clients. I have to come up with all this content all day. The people I work with I'm paying for the most part, and I don't really get out much. Okay, got it. So there may be some life circumstances that have this feeling show up that's called, I'm isolated, I'm depressed, I'm sad, and I don't know what's going on. The first thing I would try is, how do we shift that up? Who are 3 people that you could call on the phone and have a coffee with? How about we set that up next week? Set up Monday, Wednesday, Friday. See if you can get a coffee with 3 different guys, 3 different people. They don't have to be men, they could be women as well, people you're close to, it doesn't really matter. Where could you go where you wouldn't feel isolated? I often go and work at busy coffee shops because I work by myself from home, and I love it to go out to a busy coffee shop where there's activity and there's chatting and people are having a good time, and you can hear the pitter-patter and the clinking of glasses. There's excitement, there's life, there's conversation. It gives me that feeling of not being alone. So even if I do have to do my work, which is all by myself, at least I don't feel like I'm alone. There are things we can do when we feel isolated. There are things we can do when we feel sad and depressed. There are thousands of things we can do, but we cannot do it if we do not know that somebody's facing that. If you're facing that, the only person that can help you is you by asking for help. Now, you don't have to fix everything. You just need to reach out and talk to people. You either need to talk to your spouse, you could talk to your friends, you could talk to a coach, you could talk to a therapist, you could talk to another entrepreneur, you could talk to the guy in line for coffee. Whatever the thing is, if you notice this is what's true for you, step in. Don't step back. Step in and take action and ask for help. This has been a great question. This is a huge passion of mine. Thank you so much for asking. So I have a question for you. If you're watching this video, how would you have addressed this dad's issue? Do you have a question of your own about depression, isolation, sadness, or something else? Make sure you put it in the comments below. You might see your question here on Mentor's Moment at Heroic Fatherhood. And lastly, I do want you to remember, we become better men by spending time with good men, and I'm glad I just got to spend these few minutes with you. My name's Charlie King. I'm with Heroic Fatherhood, and this has been your Mentor's Moment.